thought it had like a twist on a sort of like ghost story, a spiritual dynamic. There was also obviously the conceit around the diamonds and him getting shot, and then opening the piece like right into the action. I thought really worked well. I thought they had a really great sense of cinematography and pacing, especially through the opening as he's moving through the forest. And I thought it really like sort of contributed to an ethereal mood that was kind of built around the idea of maybe him dying or him being in the last stages of his life, and sort of him reflecting on the passages of time as we go back and see what happened, and the sort of the adversarial character sort of taking on an almost spiritual sense. I thought the ending with him with his hand out was almost him sort of beckoning him to death. That was my interpretation at least. But either way, I thought it had a really great moody approach that allowed for several interpretations of the piece, and had a layered approach to the storytelling that I thought worked well, especially since the music in particular really contributed to carrying the mood and the sense of tension and sinister undercurrent that I thought really worked well in space in lack of space of the more fleshed out storytelling or longer dialogue sequences. I thought the music really helped bridge that gap. So I thought it was a well done piece overall, creepy, sinister, a great sense of style, and I ended up enjoying it for those reasons.
I think you do a great job of setting up the relationship between the two characters, but also kind of leaning into some of the tropes of horror and ghost stories and kind of flipping them into something a little bit brighter. And I think that's really cool. I think cinematography wise, you had a great vision for this. I always think it's fun when you use black and white to show a passage of time or like moving back in time, and it's a way to quickly establish that. So that's really great as well. Um, like I said, the characters were really well developed, and I really enjoyed watching their relationship. And I loved seeing him come back for his friend at the end as well. I think that was very fun. Um, yeah, and overall, this was a great story. It was very succinct. There was a clear vision there, and it was done very, very well. It was a fresh take on the ghost genre.
They had a really effective use of flashbacks, sort of showing us the background of what happened to put this man in such an awful situation. I loved that both characters in this were in the wrong in a way, so they were both anti-heroes. You don't really know who to root for. Greed sort of gets them both in the end. They could have had the diamonds all to themselves, but instead they ruined it for both of them out of their greed, which I thought was a really powerful message. The landscapes, I loved the landscapes and the scenery that were in this film. It was all really beautiful for such a horrible situation that these two men are in. The music really added to the emotions and of the scenes, and it really helped to add that suspense and intensity to this film. I really loved that at the end, this man seems to regret what he has done to his friend, and it seems that the only thing he wants in the end is to make amends and to, he's reaching out his hand to his friend, and instead of being combative at the end of his life. I thought that was a really powerful message as well. To end on that note was really cool.
Absolutely brilliant the way the two main characters have been keeping like this kind of stall between them, and then at the end we find out that basically they killed each other. There was a great performance from the main character, from the supporting character, and absolutely, in my opinion, everything was great. The acting, the direction, the cinematography. I like the way everything is set in just one location with just two characters, a minimal amount of character, but they managed to keep the story important and interesting. And at the same time, I really loved the setting, the house, the surroundings, the nature. It was absolutely, I think everything was absolutely fantastic and very, very engaging.
I love the aesthetic of this film. The cinematography was beautiful, from the extreme close-ups to capturing the gorgeous cinematography in wide shots. The cinematography really did capture that beautiful scenery in the wide shots. Oh, and the close-ups really came into the intensity of what was going on in this show. This film, I loved the idea that they went from color to black and white to show the past. So I know there are different ways to show the past, and they chose to show the past through they made the choice to show the past through black and white, which is amazing. The sound mixing was really well done. I I loved every aspect about this film, including especially how it ended.
I really like the music for Contrition. I thought it really added something and was really effective. Also, I like the choice to go black and white at the scenes where you did, but not the whole time. But at the scenes where you did, I thought that really added because it's like the contrast between that and color, like really brought the audience in and like evoked a specific emotion that you were trying to go for. Um, and yeah, I thought the acting was great. Both the main dude and then the African American guy both carried. You know what I mean?
Is there's actually a ghost story. What the short delights in doing is taking crime movie cliches and putting new spins on them. So you've got this central like haunting, which is kind of tinged with a sense of sadness and regret and vulnerability that I think is not normally found in this sort of thing, which is really interesting. I think those feelings themselves are very well enhanced by very moody, atmospheric shots, kind of unpopulated, sparse natural vistas, particularly towards the end of the water and the fog which is also very nicely underscored by the music, which I think creates something very inventive. It all comes together to create something very inventive and actually quite moving. And I was genuinely surprised and impressed by it.
The title itself leads you into our character's state of torment after he's gone through with this decision of this act of betrayal against his partner in crime. For greed inevitably leads them both to their demise as they are hiding out after stealing a bag of jewels. They have this dire need for more, wanting all of the money for themselves. So they point guns at one another, and it's kind of only a matter of time before one of them or both of them pulls the trigger. And so after he takes out his comrade, he's found himself to also be wounded, eventually getting lost in these hallucinations, where his friend comes back as if he's the angel of death himself, or possibly a ghost kind of bent on haunting him till the end. He feels this state of regret and remorse for what he's done. You can tell so when he grabs his friend's hand in the end rather than shooting him with the gun that he's still holding on to. He kind of falls to his death in suit.